Hello there! Now, my life has been very writing orientated at the moment, so I thought I would do a bit of a writing video. So if you're here for books, I'm afraid there won't be any. But I am going to talk about writing. Do excuse if you can hear kind of clacking in the background. I'm looking after my parents' dog at the moment and we've got wooden floors, so she's padding about but she's making a lot of noise. So anyway, I thought I would talk about writing, and I thought I would talk about something that I have realised about who I am as a writer. And I think this is kind of apt for the fact that people are doing NaNoWriMo at the moment, and this is one of those terms which is around a lot at this time, and it's the idea of being either a plotter or a pantser. Now these are what they sound like. It's either you plot your novels, and with NaNoWriMo for example, a plotter will spend October planning out exactly what they're going to write on every day of NaNoWriMo, or at least giving themselves a pretty decent idea, whereas a pantser will have a general idea and will just write and kind of see what comes out of that. And I think pantsers generally have a much harder job when it comes to... She's drinking now, excuse me. Anyway, so I think pantsers have a much harder job when it comes to the rewriting, because they have to obviously craft this almost unwieldy thing into a novel. But I suppose both have their plus points, definitely. I think planners can get stuck on planning. Pantsers can really let the story run and find avenues that they never knew were going to come. Now, as a writer myself, I've always associated as being a pantser. I always hated the bit in like school English exams where you had to spend half an hour planning. I despised it. I have quite a visual thought process when I'm planning a book or planning a piece of writing, so I like to just start writing with like a first line or an idea and see where it goes. However, I have made no secret about the fact that until earlier this year I had never finished a full-length book. I had always focused on short stories, I suppose, because I think it is in a sense easier to pants a short story because it is a more condensed and short form thing. So if you have the idea of a snapshot, you can kind of run with that and see where it goes in a short length of time and not run into too much difficulty, I suppose. Whereas with long novels, I think what I've realised, especially doing a favourite writing course, which I feel like I mention in every video at the moment, but I'm doing a favourite writing course. A lot of that up to now has been not necessarily about planning, but about thinking about your book and thinking where you want your book to go and answering questions effectively on things like your characters and your overall plan for them and their motivation. We've also just had to do a thing called a beat sheet, which is where you plot out sort of effectively, I suppose it's like planning out what happens in each chapter. So you write down every big incident that happens or that you want to happen. And I have found this process so helpful, because I think the thing that I hate and the thing that I find daunting about writing novels is that you kind of sit down every day, and it's fine if you're in the midst of a chapter and you know what's happening in that chapter, but I find often I will sit down to start a new chapter and just draw a complete blank and have no clue where I want things to go or what I'm trying to say. And doing the beat sheet, for instance, really proved to me that not only is it important to know what you want to happen so that you can work through plot holes, but also because it just helps you keep that momentum, because I'm never now going to need to sit down and say, right, what's happening in this chapter, because I've written it down. And also it did help me overcome some issues that I was like previously I would have been like, I'll deal with that later. And I think if you do that to some extent, you may come up against a brick wall and have to rewrite large amounts of what you've already written, and I think that can be off-putting. So long story short, I have decided that I am a plotter rather than a pantser, and that is a real revelation to me. I mean, I don't think I'll ever be one of these people who has like bullet journals for their novel or anything like that, but having more idea over what I want to happen, and I don't know the exact ending of my novel, but I have some idea of it. And as I say, I know how to get there. So yeah, I feel like I'm much more able to face the task of writing a novel. So my advice for today, people, is that if you have always pantsed your novels and found that you struggle to get to an end point, or that you reach sort of 30,000 words and you don't know how to go forward, I would really recommend trying out plotting. I'm not saying that you have to go all out and go absolutely crazy, but I think definitely knowing how to get from A to B is going to help you just go the long haul. Obviously there will be those of you out there who pants their novels and absolutely get along with that fine, but this is for the people who, like me, struggle to finish things. So yeah, give it a go. Let me know down below, are you a pantser or a plotter? Have you ever tried life on the other side to see how that suits you? And I will see you next time. Bye!